shoot a lot of things already. I don't want to respond and all of that. I just kind of ignored and didn't respond because it's the same cycle every single time. Oh, hi, hello, I'm trying to talk to you, or you don't respond. And this one went ahead telling his friend that was with him, oh, how much of an attitude that I have, how I'm not receptive, one thing. And I'm like, if you ask person out, person say you know they do, not they date you. Ask another person now by force. And this guy just went on and on and on. And then at some point he saw that I wasn't paying attention to him. Then you know that cuss word that people would use for women to want to make them feel hot, trying to slut shame somebody. When he said, I just looked at him and I was like, this is all you can do. My instincts don't even lie to me because I'll never be caught anywhere around you. Because just imagine, just because somebody wasn't paying you attention. And I feel like this is one thing that a lot of women suffer day in, day out. If there's anything that I detest moving around is catcalling. First, don't catcall me. Don't try to get me to talk to you when obviously you can see that I'm not buying into it. And when people talk about how unsafe women feel in different spaces, even moving around randomly on the road, somebody will come and say, oh, you too, what were you wanting? What were you wanting? Keep your mouth where your money is, or keep your money where your mouth. I don't even know which one it is now because I'm just thinking about so many things.
It's so surprising that you're sharing this because even as of yesterday, on the big question, I and Rose, we discussed about harassment, and then Miriam came to the office and was telling us how she was harassed at the junction. So
you can imagine
it's a back-to-back event, and I mean I'm glad that we get to still bring this conversation up again. It's a no. If you're asking out a lady, if she's not interested,
I don't want
harassment.
I think a lot of men suffer with
ego issues.
Yes, ego issues, accepting rejection. They also struggle with that because maybe in their head, I cannot understand why you don't think I'm good enough for you. You are not, and it's very, very obvious. Except you want to lie to yourself, which is fine. It's fine to live in denial.
Why even get to the point where the person has to say it to you that I don't want
like all of the clues are there, all of the signs are there. But even if you don't want to read the signs, I'm going to tell it to you. Look you right in the eyeball and be like, I don't want you. And just keep it moving. But a lot of them struggle with, I know that the men will still come for us and still come and talk and respond because I'm actually waiting for some of your comments as well. I'm actually waiting for some of your comments. But these are the issues. This really are the issues. These are the issues. The phone lines are open 07000 917 917, or you can send us a WhatsApp message on 070 56537. Now we get to look at the different headlines that we have here on the headlines today. So we start off with the Punch newspapers.
Oh yes, from the Punch newspaper this morning. Yes, today is the 23rd day of July 2024. NBA warns Gombe students against substance abuse. Activist shares strategies to keep Niger girls in school. Reps speaker vows to complete deceased members Kaduna project. AI will impact varsities others. Abu VC. Rape. Rape Ogun student. Vanguard.
All right, on the Vanguard newspapers, we have Ohaneze Indigo tackles Nonuga over his alleged hatred for Igbos. North ranks high in poverty, illiteracy, and insecurity, says ECF. Military hands over Chibok girls and 330 other victims to Borno government. Bank MD still for alleged disobedience of court order. 5 abducted Undoko members.
Suspension notice, AEDC tax management team announces new leadership. Analysts urge CBN to stimulate growth as MPC meets. NASIMA lists effects of MPR hike on businesses. Finance Act, 50% banks forex gains tax won't affect Nigerians. Federal government national pledge. Obaseki, if APC doesn't allow free fair poll in Edo, it will trigger crisis in Nigeria. Federal government moves to end Dangote and MDPRA rift meets major industry stakeholders. Over to the Daily Trust.
All right, on Daily Trust newspapers, NGO sinks boreholes in FCT community and schools. Plateau. Group calls for calm as police recover corpse of Okada rider in Magun. Magun loses 2.6 million naira property to fire in FCT. Sad. Hoodlum scale fence, seal bag of rice from vice principal's office. Minister intervenes in Dangote, NNPCL, NMDPRA, NUPRC brawl. Over to the pen pushing.
And finally, on the pen pushing newspaper, Senator Orji Kalu proposes part-time legislature, says it will help cut costs of governance in Nigeria. Abacha family loses land revocation suit against Nigerian government. Appeal court affirms dethroned traditional rulers' conviction of a fake kidnap.
All right, and these are the headlines we have across different Nigerian newspapers this morning. Do well to call in live 07000 917 917, or you can send us a WhatsApp message on 070 56537. My name is Esther Alaribe.
And I'm Miracle Philip.
20 minutes to 8, and yes, we're reviewing the dailies across different Nigerian newspapers, and of course, your input, your comment, always welcome. And now we get to bring in our analyst this morning as we get to speak to Obideyi Olarinwaju Lubinko. Hi, Lubinko. How are you doing this morning? Good to have you join us. Hi, Lubinko. Good to have you join us. It's always a pleasure having you.
I'm very well. Nigeria can be showing and you guys can be making me happy.
How are you doing? How are you doing?
Esther. I'm very well. Good morning, Miracle.
Good morning.
How are you today?
We're doing great. We're fine. Thank you very much for joining us.
Obviously, you're with WFM. What to expect, What to expect,
We're doing great.
Yeah,
We're doing great.
Yeah, that's normal now. When everybody is talking about minimum wage, the maximum wage is already what you are taking. So what are we talking
Loviko,
about?
please don't start with me this morning. Don't start with me this morning, please. Well.
I've reached you, Esther.
Well, I mean, it feels good to be back here. It feels very, very good to be back here. And trust me, we're having very, 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 very important conversations as always. Always. As long as about governance, leadership, we're going to be talking about it. Because Nigeria is our home. Very dear to our heart. So all of these whole Jackpot conversations, I was talking to somebody yesterday, and they were talking about if you had plans to Jackpot last year and you did not Jackpot last year, just know that you're going to spend up to maybe double or more of what you had planned to spend last year. So even the Jackpot is not affordable for everybody. And when I mean everybody, up to like 70% of people cannot even afford it. So that one serves another conversation on the side. So until we are able to just come back and realize that whether we run away, travel abroad, come back, you still need to fix the motherland. Now fatherland before banana motherland. All right, let's go into the report this morning and see what we get to find as we get to analyze the report. Yes, Miracle.
Oh, yes, we'll be starting off with the pen pushing newspaper this morning, and it reads Senator Orji Kalu proposes part-time legislature, says it will help cut costs of governance in Nigeria. Some people say, hey, they don't come again, no.
This conversation of reducing cost of governance, we recycle the same thing.
That time. It's not enough. Senator, what are you saying? Well, the Nigerian senator representing Abia North of Abia State, Senator Orji Kalu, has proposed an amendment to the constitution to reduce federal and state lawmakers' plenary to 4 times a year, explaining that it will help cut the cost of governance in the country. Now, pen pushing reports that Kalu, who is a former governor of Abia State who was convicted of stealing public funds as governor but had his conviction cancelled by technical reasons by the Supreme Court, made the proposal in a viral video shared on his verified Facebook page on Sunday. The federal lawmaker, who is the chairman of the Senate Committee on Privatization in the video, confirmed by one of his aides, Kenneth Uday, as authentic, called on his colleagues, both at the federal and state, to agree with his proposal. Now, in his words, he says, I think it will be a very good idea if my colleagues and other members of the Houses of Assembly will agree that we can sit for 3 months and do constitutional amendment first from 2027 to sit 3 months. In 3 months, we sit for 2 weeks or 3 weeks. So we sit 4 times a year. And if there is any emergency, there will be emergency sitting. We can come to do a presidential bid on that basis and go back instead of sitting on a full-time basis. Not only the Senate and the House of Representatives, I'm talking about the other houses of assembly in Nigeria. All the legislature houses of Nigeria will be part-time. This will be part of measures to reduce costs, or we will go for a regional government if we are going for regional government. Now, Lubinko, I'm sure you've seen this news this morning, and there's some people who've been, up and talking about the fact that um ever since the whole conversation around protests, there have just been different faces coming out to say, this is what we are going to do. This is what we think the government should do to reduce the burden on the people. Because, of course, we know if they're saying, if he's pushing for part-time legislature, it's more like saying, you know what, people, we want to try, we understand you better. We want to try to make money even more available from our end for you as Nigerians. Now, Lubinko, what do you have to say about this? The question of, do our lawmakers need a push before they actually do the things that are right, or push for the things that are right?
When I saw that news, I would say, any positive step is a good step. And it's a thought in the right direction. Of course, we know that the money being spent on legislation in this country, there's no reason why we should even have those two hands of government. The Senate and the House of Reps. There's no reason we should have both of them. Both of them ordinarily should be conjoined into one. And yes, they're not even only talking about their salary or anything now. So, the fact remains, if they take it as part-time, as honorable as that thought, if they are taking it as part-time, does it mean that their remuneration was cut down? Does it mean that also affects their remuneration? We're not even talking about the activities now. We are talking about all of that. Because, Nigerian politicians don't just need to be really of that. Like, they know how to throw out stories that will just make you say, hey, wow, the future is good. And they actually know what they are doing. We've had, especially look under this government, we've had so many news, so positive thinking news, that those of us who based on the trajectory of those in government, complain and say, let's be looking, we've been quite pessimist. But, when you know the trajectory of a person, when you know the past of the person, and there's nothing that seems to have proven that person has changed. You should always be ready when they say things that negate what ordinarily you think they stand for. So, like I would always say, no news from Nigeria excites me again, especially news about what the government wants to do or is doing. Nothing excites me. The only thing that would excite me is when I see results, and then I know that yes, this is something good for the future of the country, for the present of the country, and that will restore the mistakes of the past of the country. So, for the user Kalu to have thought that and even spoken it out, kudos to him. But then that's just, I hope it's not just another TikTok.
Well, this particular one that we're having to raise, looking at this comment from the lawmaker representing Abia North in Abia State. Yes, I know that this one sounds like a right conversation to be having at this time, but again, he might just be one out of many. Some people might not necessarily buy into this, and you know how the house works. You kind of need like good number of people to be on your side before this can be implemented and all. And I know that this particular conversation on reducing cost of governance, like every year we keep hearing this particular one, reduce cost of governance, and yet we still get to see different reports and different memos of how much is being spent on what, where certain amount of money is going into. Why are we not facing the real issues and just moving on, talking about what would benefit us generally as a society, as opposed to one project here that benefits just few people, and you're unable to give proper account of how much or what funding has gone into this different account. I mean, we're just talking about how a lot of people are having to, what's the word now? Cut down on a lot of things. Yeah, because of the economy, people don't feel motivated anymore. I'm sure that even right now, even HRs at work will be struggling because, yes, Loviko, because when people don't feel like it, I mean, they have so many things going on in their personal life. They come to work, you don't feel productive, you don't feel, and again, this is not any excuse for you to, yes, for you to give below par at your place of work or your business or whatever, but it can be
this government
Mm.
this government are really broken Nigerians together. In the last 2 or 3 weeks,
Mm.
I had reason to use boats, and I noticed the same thing in all the boats I took. I noticed the boat drivers are people ordinarily who should be grease to our economy, but who are being reduced to drivers. I'm not saying it's bad to be a boat driver. I'm talking about both elderly. Matter of fact, there was a lecture because I had to put some stuff in the boats, and I saw the scripts in his boat who converted his car to boats. I was once a boat driver, and I know you can't do both, be a boat driver and still be creative. We all have 24 hours in our day. And how that 24 hours is used, it affects us on a productive level, and our productivity also has impact on the nation. And it's not only that is heartbreaking. Another thing I noticed is that all of the cars, and I'm not talking about ordinary Toyota Corolla Corolla cars. You will know that these are people, I'm talking of cars that ordinarily are good, but all of the cars, they are all making sounds. I had to engage one of them. And the reason is simple. Because all these cars, they use it to earn a living, and they can't maintain it. The cost of maintaining it, or buying tire, or buying shock absorber is so high. So at the end of the day, it's just like reducing Nigerians to nothing. Because even that car they think they are using to run now, they can't maintain it. That car would eventually break down. When it breaks down, they have no other thing to do. And I see this as I'm talking of ordinarily in the past, boat driving is for young men or young people that just want. It's just like when
on the side income, like side hustle, just extra money.
Yes, yes. Especially for someone who wants to pay school fees, it's not supposed to become a professional job where all of our able-bodied who should be men or women who should be contributing to the economy, they now turn to boat driver. And still, the government sees nothing wrong. This is supposed to be there. There are some. I have to engage these people, and even their look alone, oh no, this is not supposed to be a driver. This is just a Nigerian factored driver. I'm not saying being a driver is bad.
Of course, it is honorable.
But I'm saying, why should we be limiting? I'm an entrepreneur myself, Esther, but am I entrepreneuring? Nothing is preneuring again.
What was that line?
I want to be like Shoyinka this morning, I want to coin words, nothing is preneuring. Except one has the opportunity of earning in Forex. There's nothing you are earning in Nigeria that seems to work. When is the time for even rest, for you to recalibrate yourself? Upon that, they are telling us, all of us should now use our bed. We should sleep on the floor and use our bed to start planting vegetables. We should be doing farming. No, this is not good. God will help Nigeria. The
God will
future
help
is bright.
Nigeria. Really, the future is bright. I mean, I'm thankful for people like Lobinko, Rosenji, and some other persons who get to send in messages, having to acknowledge that yes, there are issues, there are challenges, but Nigeria definitely will be great in our lifetime. And these are like the words we need to keep reminding ourselves
Yeah,
about. And
because
I spoke
this
about
is
the
all we
post that I
have.
saw on LinkedIn
Mm,
yesterday about somebody who was talking about how the mindset that you adopt or the outlook that you choose to look at things from kind of impact how things come for you or how it
mm,
happens. But yes, we cannot take away the fact that these challenges actually do exist with us. Yeah. They're there. They're
mm.
there. 5 minutes to 8 on your Women Radio 91.7. And this is the newspaper review. The newspaper review is where we get to review the dailies across different Nigerian newspapers. And we have our analyst who gets to analyze the dailies in his or her own opinion. And you also get to send in your comment and your contributions. The phone lines are open 07000 917 Send us a WhatsApp message on 0703 We get to look at some of the messages that we have here, and this one from Olushoga Ajayi from Odonline Ikorodu. This one says, but in actual sense, the government can start addressing some of the demands listed so far without necessarily waiting for protests. The situation is tough, and it is advisable that government finds a way to ameliorate the suffering.
All right.
Okay.
And this here is coming from Eze from Riverview Estate. It says, good morning, WFM. It is only in Nigeria that the government will wake up in the morning and her citizens that had eaten for days to exercise patience in the midst of plenty, while the dogs of few government officials live in affluence. I have searched and discovered that Nigerian legislators are the highest paid in Africa. It is also known that there is a stupendous wealth in this entity called Nigeria. This wealth is our collective wealth that had found its way in the pockets of corrupt government officials. In Africa, the highest paid lawmakers are from Nigeria. Nigerian senators receive a monthly salary that significantly surpasses those of their counterparts in other African nations. Their base salary is around 2.4 million naira per month. But when additional allowances such as hardship, constituency, newspaper, wardrobe, vehicle maintenance are factored in, their total compensation is much higher. This places Nigerian lawmakers among the highest paid not only in Africa but globally. 180 Nigerians under multi-dimensional poverty are bleeding. I stay in Riverview Estate. We are no more viewing the river, but the river is now viewing us.
Dominic, you see what you've caused this morning. Is it we're no more viewing the river? The river is viewing us.
Of course,
Wow.
Oh dear, this is so funny.
I feel I feel that.
Eze did this one.
Yes, he actually did this one, really. The river is viewing. Well, I mean, this is just one out of many Nigerians, and Eze feels that the river is viewing.
Well, to some level, I feel like I'm even trying to imagine the reality of that statement, even though it's supposed to be a pond. The fact that someone would most likely be sitting close to a river and just wondering, like, where do I even go from here? Everything that I have had lost, maybe to flood, maybe to insecurity, maybe to the policies that are suffocating their businesses. I really think that people just sit by the river and like look at the river looks at them, and it's an unpleasant situation, really.
Yeah. Well, I'll just go back to this first message that we took. The comment from Olushoga Ajayi from Odonline Ikorodu, having to note that the government can start addressing some of the demands of these people who have been warming up for a protest. Lubinko, I'm sure you must have heard of some people planning some protests come August 1st.
Anyway, the truth remains, I give it to these governments. They have really caged Nigerians. In the past, protest is part of governance. Good protest is part of governance. In 2014, the current president, I'm happy that truth is surfaced. I mean, I was one of these. I was one of those who believed in him until, I mean, a lot of us did until we probably realized this is, I mean, at some point, I think it changed. This was a person who called on Nigerians to protest. And he also told the government then that, please, don't attack protesters. So this protest is long overdue. I was reading yesterday about a young man, a TikToker, I think, in the north, who is now under arrest for calling for protest. A peaceful protest is part of democracy. The situation on ground, does it call for a peaceful protest? The answer is yes. Great sages like Professor Wale Soyinka, Tunde Bakari, even former President Muhammadu Buhari, they've led protests in this country. And why did they lead protests? The situation wasn't even as bad as this. So in a situation where we are calling for, anybody's calling for peaceful protest, yes, it's a welcome idea. And as much as it is welcome, we can only just encourage. I mean, we saw what happened with NSAS. It was hijacked. I mean, till tomorrow, some will want to tell you some people are the ones that sponsored it and hijacked it. So don't be surprised that those who probably hijacked that protest are people also in government. So whoever is organizing protest or whoever wants to protest, they must factor all of those things in and strategize in such a way that their good intentions will not be turned into a bad one for them. Nigerians, whatever you want to do, please do it within the ambits of the law. Nigeria is our country, and we should not allow it to. Like I would always say, things will change, and it will be in my lifetime. And you know, the wind will just blow all of a sudden. The wind will just blow. It will just blow, and things will change. Nigeria will be great in my time.
Nigeria will be great in my time. Really, that's the prayer. So, talking about protest and Olusegun Ajayi having to recommend that the government start looking inward and solving some of these issues before people even hit the road for the protest. Protest, yes, but go to relevant authorities, seek proper approvals, hit the road peacefully. It becomes a problem when other people are being blocked from going to carry out their daily activities, or we're hitting people, demolishing buildings and all of that. And again, not a lot of people who come out for protests actually understand the reason for the protest. So when they come, they think it is us against us. No, it is us against the issues. And it's not you going to beat up some other persons, or you see people coming with their cars and you go ahead destroying their cars because you don't want them to pass. Many people do not necessarily understand this, the necessity of the protest before they hit the road. And that's the challenge that I have so far with protests. But again, and I've also seen some associations having to come out to note that whatever protest that is brewing, they're not a part of it. I was watching a video this morning of the I think it's an association called the Indigenous People of Abuja, of the FCT, and they're having to talk about the protest and how they're not a part of it. They don't buy into it and all of that. So different organizations, different associations having to come out to say, oh, we're not involved in this. So but again, we don't know. We just know that there are different flyers, there are different conversations. Who exactly is calling for this protest?
Who is leading?
We don't know. We don't know. And I remember that was one strategy that I don't know if I would say it worked or didn't work during the entire protest, because there was no face to it. But I mean, I don't know. 3 minutes past 8 on your Women Radio 91.7, and we're reviewing the dailies across different Nigerian newspapers this morning. Be a part of the conversation as we get to review the dailies. My name is Esther Alaribi.
And I'm Miracle Philip.
Yes, our analyst this morning, we're speaking to Obide Yolara Wajulo Binko as we get to review the dailies. You two on the other side, you can be a part of the conversation by calling in live on 07000 917 917, or you can send us a text or a WhatsApp message on 070 56537. So we move over to this one on the Vanguard newspapers, and this one says North ranks high in poverty, illiteracy, and insecurity, says ACF. That is the Arewa Consultative Forum, having to note that the North remains essentially a work in progress, noting that all indices that track human progress, most of all poverty, illiteracy, health, security of life and property, tends to place the North at the end of the deep of the trough. Let's hear from this caller. We'll come back to this. Hello, good morning. Kindly turn down the volume of the radio. Hi, good morning.
Yeah, this is Abayomi from away.
What did you say your name is?
Abayomi.
Abayomi, good morning.
Yeah, good morning. So Abayomi from away.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yes. I want to ask a question.
All right, go ahead, please.
My question is that when is Onanuga going to call for the arrest of Dangote? Or is it only P2P that is after? Or why is it after P2P? Why is all APC members after P2P? Why? Why? When is Onanuga going to call for the arrest of Dangote?
But Dangote hasn't done anything, and if there's anything that Dangote has done, I'm sure that the relevant authorities, security agencies will be best to advise on that. And on the other comments, talking about, yeah.
So what did P2B do? Did he make any comments?
I think this one would be a rhetorical question. All right, Abayomi, let's hear what Lubinko thinks about your question this morning. Thank you very much. Okay, Lubinko, so this caller, Abayomi, seems to be asking. First, he was noting why Dangote hasn't been arrested. I'm having to note that to the best of my knowledge, there hasn't been any accusation or allegations on Dangote. And if there are agencies and commissions in place to do that, to do their investigation and pick who needs to be picked up. Then I'm having to note that APC members, why are they after Peter Obi? I don't know if that's a thing. What you mean after? What do you mean after, Lubinko?
I did not get that last part.
Yeah, I'm having to note that Abayomi, the caller, was noting that APC members by Ononunga were after Peter Obi. When I say after, so I'm asking, what does it mean by after Peter Obi?
Yeah, okay, the thing is this. I will start with the Dangote question. The fact remains Dangote is a businessman, a smart and intelligent one for that. And as an entrepreneur, what you look out for is opportunities to exploit. And unfortunately, our government, our parastaff has presented him with that opportunity, and he had become a monopoly unto himself. He's not the first in the world. It happened in US. Microsoft was almost controlling the whole country until the houses, the system rose up against him, and he had to sell the Microsoft shares only to retain 5% of it. It also happened with this guy, Daewoo. It happened with Daewoo in Korea. It happened with what's his name, Jack Ma, in China. Alibaba, he's gone back to being a professor. So it's happening to Dangote. He's enjoyed monopoly for so long. But like an article I was reading yesterday, Nigerian oil belongs to all Nigerians. So the fact that Dangote wants to kulubi all the oil now to himself, he's going to mix with some resistance, because that monopoly is one too dangerous to be in the hand of one person. For the caller who was asking, when would Dangote be arrested? Dangote had committed no crime at all. As a businessman, he had dealings with the CBN based on negotiation, and then their negotiation was okay. And he bought from them what they are selling. He had a negotiation with the government, and he made sure it favored him so well, and he's benefiting from that. He's just been a businessman. Those we should be attacking and calling for their arrest are those who actually subverted the system for a singular individual. And yes, talking about Obi, of course, considering how irrelevant Obi is, considering the fact that he was a distant third in the last election, considering the fact that he has nothing to offer, like they will say, when you look at the level of attack on the person of Peter Obi, you'll be amazed. I mean, Obi is not even supposed to be the major opposition. Atiku is supposed to be the major opposition. But you that there's a great against the person of well, they'll call that politics. You know, Mr. Bayon Onega, as a growing journalist, I mean, these were names I used to look up to while growing up. But, you know, a lot of people that I would have said these were my role models, people I want to be like when I grow up some 15, 20 years ago. Today, I'm not really proud of that. So, I mean, it's part of politics. It's just all efforts to discredit the person who is seen as a threat. But then, the world has changed beyond the stage of propaganda. I mean, only actions. The only reason people are shouting right now is not because the opposition is doing a good job. No. The only reason people are shouting is because the government itself is doing a very shoddy and bad job. And everybody is seeing it. So when they even try and come out and say it's some people, political detractors that are doing this, the people will just, I mean, Yorubas will say, "Mapi no mimo moje." You understand? Like the handwriting is on the wall, is visible. Like, let me use Obiagon's English. Is visible to the blind and audible even to the deaf. So we all can see it. Attacking a person or trying to discredit a person is, I mean, they've done that so far so good. But like I would always say, an idea which is time is right cannot be conquered. We just keep observing. I mean, you know, they tried everything to malign him. But if God says he is, nothing can change that.
Well, on this case of whether it is Peter Obi or the Obedient Movement or the APC, my point is whoever is going to be making any kind of comment or putting anything out there should be stating them based on fact. He has to be based on fact. What fact are you using in making these conclusions, this comment or assertions? Just yesterday I was talking about a particular report that I took on, I think, the Vanguard newspapers. Yes, whereby Ononuga was having to note that if anything happens in line with the protest, they should hold Peter Obi responsible, as the Obedient Movement have been the one championing this cause on social media. And yes, so when I saw that one, I was like, I spoke about it. Why are we shifting sides? And really, when you look at it, going by what Lubinko has said, that Peter became third in the elections, and for some reason, this one just makes me ask, where is Atiku?
Like, seriously,
exactly. Where is Atiku in all of this? He just seemed like after the election, like, please, all of that does needs to clear, and he's just been. But sometimes you still get to see one or two comments or report from him, but he hasn't necessarily been stirring the waters like we've been seeing Obi do with the APC members. And I think even I was thinking that after the elections, we're going to see a lot of back down from conversations around politics and governance from a lot of young Nigerian youth, but he hasn't been the same. It hasn't been the same. They've sustained the same energy from after the election up until now, especially on the platform X, formerly Twitter. You get to see young people who you would think you would not be interested. But the fact that they understand that it impacts the economy, the harsh economy impacts their buying and selling, impacts how much income they make and what stays with them and all. Now they're very, very interested in it. And I don't know if it's a good thing, but it's just waking a political sense.
It's that like awakening, like you said. It's very important that our youths are now very important, like involved in the political space, away from just knowing I need to vote to how do I sustain this conversation? How do I prepare myself ahead of time as well? How do we stay awake and not be shocked by, 2027, we need to come back again? I think very important. But where it becomes a problem is towing the line of insult on people.
Is that one I cannot even understand?
Based on your tribe or your political
religion.
differences. Yes, that's where the problem is.
Really, like if you want to have whatever argument or conversation, just come with facts. Don't come attacking people based on emotions. Like, it doesn't work. Sentiment, no, it doesn't work. Let's look at some of the messages that we have here, Miracle.
All right, so we'll take a look at this here. It's coming from L. Kennedy Victor. Says, good morning, WFM. It's noteworthy that individuals seeking global recognition often focus on positively impacting humanity. However, in Nigeria, popularity is often achieved by disparaging or vilifying the Igbo people. Despite this, we remain confident in our inherent superiority. Regarding the planned protests, we don't need demonstrations, we need freedom. The current administration should listen to the people's cries and abandon theoretical propaganda that only serves to confuse and mislead. Good governance is not an insurmountable challenge. It's puzzling why African leaders struggle to run governments with empathy and human-centered approaches. I pose a question. Do African leaders think critically, or are they merely masquerading as such? Senator Kalu's actions come to mind, really. Thank you very much for your message, L. Kennedy. This here is coming from Rosenjo Lawali from Alakwere. Says, good morning, dear presenters. Nigerians are the worst set of people on earth, as they know the truth but will pretend not to know and pay people to come and reveal the truth they already knew in order to siphon public funds. Imagine the glaring lies about Dangote Refinery, and the government still set up a panel to reveal what they already knew. It's a lie. IGP of police knew police received money for bail at the station and will still set up one unnecessary investigative panel. For how long shall we continue to lie to ourselves? Bad followers will never produce good leaders. Nigeria will survive. Allah bless Nigeria.
All right. Thank you. Thank you very much, Miracle. The phone lines are open 07000 917 917, or you can send us a WhatsApp message on 070 56537. If there's one thing that Rosenja is going to do, is call out anyone that he feels like, nah, you haven't been doing so great. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, the DFM.
Yes, good morning. What's your name? Where are you calling us from?
This is from Orji.
You said your name is? Do have to call us back on 07000 917 917, and we'll be sure to take your comment. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Yes, good morning. What's your name? Where are you calling us from?
Yeah, thank you. This is Emmanuel from Ogun State.
Good morning, Emmanuel. How are you doing today?
Thank you. As reported, by Yomelinka, to be sincere to ourselves, right from the day the program was sworn in, the both have been calling for the military to take over. And if you go online, you see insult, you see everything, to think of how the insult of that tribes, you see. So we should, apart, they should be too responsible for this thing. I think there is trust in this country. I'm sorry. Thank you.
So Emmanuel having to call for the military to come in, I'm not sure you really understand what that means and how life will be. But having to talk about what is going on online as well, I think that's also another thing. But there's one thing about us in Nigeria: for every time that we want to take a step, we take it 2 steps further. Now it's going to be, it ends up being like a clampdown or something. And I really don't want to just imagine what the solutions would be like, really. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Yes, good morning. What's your name? Okay.
What I said, obedient have been calling for the military to take over government. That's what I said.
Obedient have been calling in. So what's your own opinion?
Yes, they have been calling. Yeah, this is what I'm saying. Last time the president was sworn as president. Obedient have been calling on the military to take over government. This is all what we need. Go online, you see, calling on the military to talk to the government of the day. That's what I said.
All right, thank you very much, Emmanuel. So he's trying to say that what he meant was that Obedient
are the ones
calling for the military to come in. I don't know. I mean, I spend good amount of time on social media. I'm not sure if I've seen that, but I mean, if you have your fact and where exactly you can point me in the direction, I'm always available. And you can find me on X and on Instagram at Alaribe Esther. So you can share with me whatever you find. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning, ma'am.
Yes, good morning. What's your name? Where are you calling us from?
My name is Emmanuel. I'm calling from Ikoyi.
Good morning,
And
Emmanuel.
I'm calling in respect to the protest on the first.
Okay.
The problem that we are having in Nigeria is that we, the youth, we hardly come together to give out one voice.
Okay.
There is no place in Nigeria where Gary is so cheaper, or there is no place where you buy food for cheaper in Nigeria. So if, for instance, let's say I, as a youth, I'm working and I'm being paid 50,000 naira per month. What can 50,000 naira buy with the current economic situation of the country? If I'm working to get back to the universities by next year, my 50,000, if I should minus maybe probably 30,000 every month for feeding, that's 1,000. Even bread, a loaf of bread now is 600 naira here in Ikoyi. You can't see bills of 300 naira to buy. So it's getting worse. We are not protesting because we don't have jobs. We are protesting because we are hungry. And the economic hardship is becoming worse over and over. So we are coming out to raise our voices so that the government will hear our cry and make things affordable, bring down the price of things, because the hunger is becoming too much. And when people are hungry, you see all over Ikoyi, you see beggars everywhere in the street. People are begging because you that is even working, your salary cannot sustain you. Talk more of the family and other siblings that you have to take care of.
All right.
So we are coming out to protest because we are hungry and no one is stopping us. Thank you very much, man.
All right, thank you, Emmanuel. It's the fact that Emmanuel said they're coming out to protest and no one is stopping us. Like, that was a very, very conclusive statement. No one is stopping us. Again, I'll just reiterate what I would always say, and what Lubinko has also said would be, ensure that whatever protest you're coming out for, whatever activities, it is done within the ambit of the law. You get the necessary approval, because those ones also, you could be picked up if you go against what is obtainable according to the laws of the land. Ignorance is not an excuse. So yes, when people talk about protests, be sure that you know exactly what it entails. Go about it the right way. You're not destroying people's properties and all of that, and not just hitting the road because I see say my neighbor come out and want follow him. No, that's not what it is, right, Lobinko?
Yeah, you're absolutely correct. Nigerians, for every reaction from Nigerians right now, the opposer would always advise that we'll be cautious with our reactions and actions to the events on ground. But then, for virtually every reactions from Nigerians right now, it is almost justified. The previous caller before Emmanuel, coincidentally also was talking about obedience calling for military intervention. Coincidentally, I've really not seen that in the social media as he said. But even if that is actually true, it only goes to show how bad things are. If an irrelevant movement as it is would be having the kind of voice they have, it shows that the government has failed the people. The only reason hype up is getting the attention of those they are manipulating. The only reason Boko Haram is getting the attention of those they are manipulating and leading to foment trouble. The only reason any Abbas association will get the attention, especially in large numbers of the citizenry, to carry out their nefarious act is simply because the government in power has failed. And that is what we should think about. The obedient movement, I can tell you, has the good and the bad heads. And let's not forget, majority of the obedient movement are actually the Gen Zs. These are people who are probably they are the most enlightened, and which makes them the most frustrated. When I talk about the most enlightened, I'm not talking about education right now.
Okay.
I'm talking about exposure to the outside world. You know, they see what's going on in other countries. Unlike our own generation, our parents' generation, they are simply trained to respect elders and respect authorities. You understand? And as much as that is done, no questioning must be made. You know, there's an adage in Yoruba land that says,
please tell us what that means, Lubinko. Please don't throw me off balance.
Like there's no two things they do with adulthood that you use it in teaching the younger ones.
Really?
They would also say, yeah, it's a proverb in Yoruba. They would also say, meaning someone who is bigger than you can throw you away. And it just goes to show you the decadence in the psyche and mentality of the people. Because if that is a norm, if that is a culture, then where is the law of protecting the weak ones? Where's the law of not usurping power or abusing privileges?
All right. And
you will realize that is exactly what had really spoiled a democracy. You see governors who perform for 8 years, and then after their 8 years, when they are supposed to be very proud to give account of their stewardship, you see someone go to court to go and prove their time in government, and then they run to the court. You see someone trying that advocating that their tenure be proved, and you see them go to the court to stop such proving. For virtually all of the governors, we have all of these things trickle down. All these people see it. So people express their grievances, their frustrations in different ways.
All right. Thank you very much,
with all parties.
Thank you very much, Lubinko, for being on the program this morning. I mean, again, we'll just have to keep talking about it. All right. Thank you very much. To have a wonderful day. So, Gen Zs, they say, not worry. They say, not worry. The good, the bad, and the ugly. Gen Zs, everything that happens these days, Gen Zs are the one doing everything. Rosenja says, Peter Obi is indicted in Pandora paper with series of corruption cases hanging around his neck, and did confirm he did not build a single block of school in his 8 years of ruling Anambra State. This same Peter Obi is the saint of the obedience movement that will turn Nigeria around in just 5 minutes. It is typical of Nigerians to know the truth and just shy away from it. Just to be able to achieve their devilish aims. I stand to be corrected. Nigerians do not want Nigeria to grow, but want their own thief at the helm of affairs so as to get their own share of the unguarded national cake. Bad follows will never produce good leaders. Okay.
All right. This is coming from Still Eze from Riverview Estate. Says the fear of Obi is the APC's nightmares. They obtain power they are wielding cheaply through the help of INEC. Onanuga cannot succeed in bringing down Obi politically. Nigerians have resolved that it is now or never. Let the protests start. Recover Nigeria.
Okay, this one here from El Kennedy Victor. This one says, hello, WFM. Hi, Esther. The individual who has expressed interest in you, Esther, appears to be struggling with self-doubt and insecurity. Of course, no doubt. Thank you very much. A more confident and self-assured approach would have been to acknowledge his genuine feelings in a sincere and heartfelt manner. For instance, he could have said, Esther, I must confess that I have developed strong feelings for you. Your captivating presence. Even with all of these ones, too, if I'm not going to listen to you, I'm not going to listen to you. But yes, I see you. Thank you. Kennedy says this approach could have demonstrated a more authentic and respectful expression of his sentiments rather than resorting to certain declarations that may come across as insincere and attention-seeking. Whether you say it right You don't say it right. As long as you've been polite, and I politely also tell you I'm not interested. Just keep it moving, really. Like there's so many issues in the country to bother about that me having to worry my head about somebody who said and who did not say what. So that's enough for one day, really, on the newspaper review. Do well to join us again tomorrow on the newspaper review at 7:30 as we bring you different reports and analysis from across the country. At 9, we bring you the news at 9. Up until then, you get to enjoy amazing tunes all the way. And at 5 minutes past 9, we'll bring you ladies from different geopolitical zones. My name is